to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on Transform Service Desk Agent Experience with ISO Innovation Studio consoles. We're really fortunate to be joined by 3 product managers today, and also VJ, who will introduce herself later, from our IDD documents team. So just a couple of reminders before we do the formal introduction. This webinar is obviously being recorded. We will be sharing this on YouTube and also our social sites. So if any of you that have joined today want to change your profile name because you don't want to be shown up, please do so. We will be going to live Q&A at the end, where we will be speaking to you directly. So if you can just take a few seconds to read this disclaimer. A couple of reminders is where you can answer questions and ask them. Down at the bottom of Zoom, you'll see the Q&A. If you can put any of your questions in during the presentation, we will leave you muted until the end, purely because of the recording and the fact that we want to make sure that we get through the slides today. And then we should have roughly 15 or 20 minutes at the end. You may have noticed that I'd extended the time that we're presenting just because we have 3 product managers as well presenting different sections. So without further ado, I want to hand over to our first presenter, Harshad, for your introduction and to get us started.
Hey, thank you, Sam. And good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you are. And thanks for joining this call. So we do have a packed agenda for today for the session, and we hope to cover it all over the next 60 minutes. I'll begin with this disclaimer slide, and I'll not delve too much into it, but most of what it says is that, whatever information is being shared with you today is for the sole benefit of the participants and their companies. So this is not really meant to be shared with any third parties, and also that our future product plans, if discussed during this call, are subject to change and modifications, and shouldn't be really viewed as commitments from BMC. So with that, let's get started. So I'll be joined today by 3 of my most distinguished colleagues. So John Hall, Nikhil Deshpande, and Vajanti Nerkar. And together we'll talk through the agenda. And we're hoping that you will love what you hear today, as some of our announcements and discussions on product features are long awaited by a few of our customers, right? And the agenda is to really begin with by talking about the new UI strategy and what really drove the creation of these new consoles and calendar. In that, I'll shed some light on what our new direction is and how it reconciles with customer expectations, ones that we have heard over the past few years. This may resonate well with you, and we hope that some of your pain points, some of your concerns are covered as well. I'll then talk about our long-term goals and priorities for the new UI. Post that, we'll take a look at the individual modules, starting with Share Ticket Console, talk about the highlights, the current capabilities, and then do a demo. And we'll follow that up with a similar demo and highlights on Calendar and Asset Console. Toward the end, we'll spend some time walking you through the documentation that is now available and the other resources that you may want to use while adopting these consoles. And then finally, we'll open up for any voice questions that you may have. But in the meantime, as Sam did mention, if you want to ask, or if you really need to get clarified on some of your questions, please feel free to use the Q&A window, and we'll try and answer these questions as soon as we can. And so with that, and without further ado, let's get started. So what we are addressing here on the UI is some of the feedback on which we have been working with the last few years. And one of the goals for the new UI, the new UI strategy is to be based on a platform that is feature rich, which can be customized, which can be extended, or which can be modified, right? And with that, one of the goals for the new UI consoles and calendar is to make it easy for users to get to the information that they need to do their jobs efficiently. So our goal really is that users it shouldn't take long for users to get to the information. It must be very intuitive. And when I do the demo, I'll talk more about this. I'll talk more about how easy it is to now get to the information that you need, how intuitive it is, and we have been working on that, right? Of course, it also means that the UI has to be in tune with a modern web and mobile experience. And this is something which is offered by a lot of technology vendors today. And this is something that you will notice when you see the new consoles. Consistency in UI is another area that we have been consciously working on. Again, given that we have several applications in service management, and they would all benefit from having a common look and feel and a similar experience. And this really translates into a common UI set of components, right? And components that are really built on a platform that is extensible and which is feature rich. And this is one reason why we have chosen the Innovation Studio platform, because by doing so would enable us to deliver innovations in UI and other areas faster. And it would also enable our customers to extend or build components or widgets that they need on the same platform. So there is that, there is that basic foundation of the platform. And the other benefit of this would be, of course, in shorter training times, right? Uh, but the underlying theme for today's discussion is really on the Innovation Studio platform and the common UI that we are now able to deliver across multiple BMC applications. So you will hear that again and again as we go through the consoles and the calendar. And it really is going to address the productivity needs of our users, and which is really, I would say, a daunting task when we are really told that to achieve this, it should be really possible to achieve this with as many fewer clicks as possible, right? So we have looked into scalability, we've looked into usability. They have always been priority areas for us. And when John does his demo on calendar, or when we do our demo on calendar, you will see how a bunch of different but related things, have been fitted together in a single calendar UI that basically represents a plan on the page. And this is really the what part, as in what constitutes an easy to navigate user interface, right? So as we have been doing user research on this for as long as I know, there are six elements that have come out very strongly. And it's starting with the need for a single UI across all of BMC Helix applications, and then the ability to navigate across multiple apps. So it could be one persona or it could be different personas. Getting that persona access to relevant information, relevant actions, no matter what the underlying module is, because as long as they have permissions to access it, and if that is what their role demands, it should be possible, it should be configurable. And it should also allow for the components or features to be extended and meet the user needs, right? Which also you include the user needs to personalize certain UI or certain components, right? Lastly, with Gen Z entering our workforce in a big way and with different hybrid work models, we see that work is shifting across multiple or different form factors. And it is more a case of a console or calendar not only being properly rendered on a laptop or a desktop, but it must also be readily and easily accessible via mobile or iPads as well, with appropriate refinements. Yeah, and then if you've just joined or if you're busy or not really paying attention, so this is a slide that really encapsulates all that we have been saying for the last 10 minutes. So our goal in terms of an UI refresh is to focus on three things really. One is user productivity and satisfaction. The second is about incremental and continuous improvement in our UI going forward. And the last is consolidation of UI across all of service management. So with that, what I'll do is I'll just get on with the first demo that we have for today. And before I do that, I'll talk more about the first module that we have for today, which is Share Ticket Console. And as you all know, the ticket console is one of the most used screens across all of BMC Helix, right? So be it ITSM, be it PWF, be it our CSP apps, the number one use screen for us is Share Ticket Console. So any improvements, any refinements in this area is going to really benefit our customers in a big way. And in terms of what we've been doing is really to build a tailorable, mobile-ready, and a platform-based modern UI. So this has really been our focus over the last couple of years, right? To build an UI which is based on shared components, which can also be used for other BMC applications. To expand filtering and display options, and you will see that in the demo, and to also introduce new features. So some of the features that we have introduced include, exporting records, sharing preset, having the ability to do in-row actions, expanding text search, or navigating to other lines of business, right? So all of these are really, common customer asks, and we've been able to deliver this with the new share ticket console. The other area or the other benefit that this console would really provide is in terms of extensibility. So we talked about this console being built on an IS platform. And what it really means is that it is now extensible. If you really want to add more widgets, more components, you can do that, and you can do that without coding. So because it's based on a low code, no code platform. And again, this is going to be fully usable across multiple form factors. So if you're using this on a web or a mobile or on an iPad, this is going to give you that much better experience and better performance. So this is really our new innovation. This is really what we have launched last year, and this is really G8 now. This is generally available to all our customers, the Share Ticket console. In terms of our current capabilities, this is really a bunch of capabilities that we have with the Share Ticket console, and most of it is what is also available in the previous consoles, right? The focus right now with 23.3 is to provide a feature parity with the previous consoles, and then to also introduce some more features, right? So when we looked at uh, what is really important in terms of being able to provide a new experience, I think a few things that really stood up is the ability to export, or to have more bulk actions, or the preset sharing. So those were the new features. But then in terms of what we already have in the previous consoles is the flexible filtering, the display on, the ability to show the applied filters, manual refreshing, quick text search, localization, and then the accessibility, right? Summary cards with matrix. So some of these features have been kept as it is. They are intact, of course, with a new UI, with a refresh on the UI part. So it is much more intuitive. It is much more easy for you to really access this console, right? But then there are a lot more new features, and I'll talk about it without further ado. So with that, what I'll do is I'll just start to share my application, my solution here. I'll stop sharing this PPT, and I'll share my.
You can see that. That's great, Arshad.
Okay. So again, what you see on the screen is the new share ticket console, and this is really the new UI. This has undergone significant refresh over the last couple of years, as I did mention. So this is really based on a platform. So it is not something which is hard coded, right? The underlying technology for this is Innovation Studio, and then some of the features which really provide that intuitive feel, easy to experience thing are some of these things like filters. So if I really have filtered my grid on a few filtered subclasses, I know what these filters are. So those are really apparent here in this filter. When I select the filter, those are displayed here. Also, if I really scroll through the list of filters, I see them highlighted, or I see this blue dot above this filter classes. So that is really to say that these subclasses have really been filtered, right? So this is the more intuitive, more easy thing that I was referring to, right? Also, with this new console, I can change the order of my columns. I can add more columns. It comes with a few out of the box columns, but if there is a need to add more columns, I can do that. It's very easy to do that for me to add new columns. And the moment I add these new columns, it's something which automatically comes and sits on the console. And you know, uh, just keep in mind, if I change the list of these columns, it's going to really retain that, or it is really going to process that across sessions, right? So this is something which was not really available in the previous technology, right? The ability to be able to change the orders of the columns, or even to change, the sorting of some of these fields in the grid, and then to be able to retain that or process that, throughout the session. So this is the new introduction with this new Strategy console. And now that I've changed some of the columns here on my grid, the preset obviously is going to be changed. So I have options to then save this as preset. I have options to save this by a new name, or I have an option to discard these changes. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just save this right now as part of this preset, right? Um, The other thing which we have introduced with this new console, which was a common ask from our customers, was the ability to share these presets with multiple, service desk agents, right? So let's say, there is a case that I have to share this preset with other users, right? I can really do that. So I can really select those users. I can share this preset with other users. And the benefit from this is that multiple users find it very easy to be on the same page when you have the same preset, right? So it's a case of create once and then share across throughout the service desk. That is really going to enable multiple people working on the same set of applications or same set of services to be on the same page, right? And this is something which we have introduced with 23.3. The other features here are, your ticket statistics, which I would say we have retained from the uh, last smart IT application. But then here it's much better in terms of an experience. These are clickable right now, and the moment you click on this is when this whole thing gets filtered as well by what you have clicked on, right? So I've clicked on critical 50, and then in that I see overdue as 6, right? So I can do this, drilling down and rolling up as I feel, as I believe it should be done. And then when I really go back, when I really delete some of these filters, is when I go back to the previous view. And so that's how easy it is, right? So you can really click on these statistics. You can get to a view of a grid or record that you want to see, and then you can go back to your previous views very easily by just clicking on cross on these filter pills, right? Um, and then, of course, there is the ability to export, all the records here, all the rows here to a CSV file, or I may even choose, let's say, the top 5 rows and then export them to CSV, right? So both the options are really available to me. I can either export all the rows or I can export the ones that are selected. And this is really going to be very helpful if you want to use these records for any offline analysis. Um, and then lastly, we have options for doing bulk relate, bulk updating. You can open a new tab. You can do a bulk flagging of this thing, bulk unflagging of this thing. You can do a bulk follow, bulk alpha. So all these bulk actions are really also kept intact. Um, the new feature that we have introduced this time with the consoles is the ability to do in-row actions, right? And I'll just stop at this. This is going to be my last feature that I'm going to demo. Uh, and the common feedback that we've got is if I want to really edit this record, I have to do multiple clicks. So I have to first click on the record and then again click on edit. But with the interactions, what you could do is you can just click on edit directly on the record, and it takes you to the editable view of this particular ticket. Of course, if you have the permissions to do that, right? So this is the other feature. These are the other things that we've introduced with this new shared ticket console, the ability to do interactions. And this is really going to be expanded in the coming few months. We're going to add more interactions to this list. So you don't really have to navigate to a record and then perform actions, you can take the same actions while you are on the grid, and by just clicking on the indoor actions. Of course, the search is also expanded, so this is actually applicable on more attributes than before. So a lot of things for you to really play around with. The default line of business here would be IT, but I can go and I can choose any other line of business, and it really enables me to navigate to other lines of businesses as well. It could be human resources, it could be facilities, it could be procurement. So I think this is a single view of a console across multiple applications. It would depend on your permissions, on your role, and if you have a use case where there is a need for you to view multiple consoles across BMC applications, this is what is going to really enable that for you. With that, I'll take a pause here, and I'll start answering questions if there are any on the chat. But I'll move to our next presenter, and we'll move to the next topic for today, which is calendar.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Nikhil Deshpande. I am a product manager for ITSM, and I'm excited to present two of our flagship features for the 23.3.00 release, uh, calendar and asset console. So for the past several years, we have been seeing how the DevOps movement has gathered pace. And at BMC, we believe in partnering with DevOps. ITSM and DevOps need to work together in order to fulfill not just service management goals, but also to do so in an agile way. We need to facilitate DevOps in a way that allows the organization to move at speed. And at BMC, this is one of our core values, to be able to partner with small, nimble DevOps teams and enable them to innovate faster. So with that view, we came up with a few goals for the calendar. We have had a calendar in Helix for a long time, but what makes this one different is that we are aligning with a common technology strategy that we have adopted for consoles, which Harshit talked about. So it's not just for the ticket console, it equally applies to the calendar. So with the new calendar, you'll see um, a timeline that scales across days, weeks, months. So we know that with the DevOps movement, there are teams are becoming more agile, which means that in any time period, whether it's a day or a week or a month, development teams will need to deploy several changes, which means that our calendar should be able to accommodate multiple change tickets at a time and allow users to consume that information that doesn't confuse them. They should be able to focus on just a few tickets, maybe change tickets or business events that are relevant. We allow that through this extensible platform, which is Innovation Studio. So this is we use this calendar not just for change tickets, but also for releases and business events. With the advanced filtering capabilities, you can zero down from dozens of tickets to just a few of interest to you. You can it scales across the timeline. You can go back and forth in time. It also scales vertically. If you have multiple change tickets scheduled to execute over a weekend, we allow you to do that. Next slide, please. So these are some of the use cases that were delivered in the calendar. A new Gantt style calendar. So this is just like a Gantt chart, being able to present a calendar like a Gantt chart. Extensive way of filtering. So you can filter from all the changes that appear in a time window to just a few based on the filters that you specify. We've whatever Harshit showed for share tickets, the ability to share presets, manage presets, we do all of that in the calendar as well. And we know that there are several users who may want to consume this information offline. So we facilitate exporting data out of the calendar for offline consumption. We've got a few items on our roadmap. Sharing presets is something that we're looking at in one of our future releases. Change freeze management, another important part of the change enablement practice, is to be able to apply change freeze windows to align with governance practices, with making sure that changes are deployed only during times that it does not pose any risk to the business. With that, I'm now going to share a product demo. When you log in to Smart IT, you can access the calendar right from the menu. You click on calendar and it launches the new calendar. There's new, all the three consoles that we're presenting today need to be enabled. There's a CCS parameter to enable each of these. And if you search for the product documentation, you'll find that. Once you enable, you will start seeing the new Innovation Studio based calendar right here. So I'm here in the month of January. You can see a number of changes that are scheduled in this period. You'll see a number of overlapping changes. So around these dates, 14th to 17th, you'll see a number of changes that are scheduled. However, they may not be colliding with one another. We do see two collisions, and it's quite likely that there's a collision because of the services that are impacted by these changes. If you want to look at the details, just click on that change record, and it shows a window where you can see, or a card which shows some more details of that change. What are the scheduled dates for this change? Which CI is impacted? You can send emails to the coordinator or manager group right from here. Or if you want to drill down to the details of this change ticket, you can click on View Details to view other details, such as collision, for instance. If there's a collision, then you can open that change ticket, and uh, then you can take action on any other change tickets that collide with this one. The new calendar is extensible in that you can go back and forth across the timeline, either through the scroll bar, or if it's easier, you can also click on the calendar to go back and forth in year or month. Uh, You can also export the data from this change calendar. You can do it as a CSV file, or if you want to, you can also export it as in an ICS format, so that you can then open this in Outlook or other calendaring tools. It's vertically extensible, so I just showed a few. Here there are a few changes that are scheduled in this period, in this month of January, but this is highly scalable. Even if there are hundreds of changes or business events uh, that are scheduled in this time, you will still be able to see all of them. And if the volume of records is too overwhelming, all you need to do is add some more filters, whether it's the company, the change type, the ticket type, or the class of change. Whether if you just want to look at what are the normal changes or just the emergency changes in this period, you can easily do that. You'll see all your saved presets here in the Save tab, and it shows all the presets that other presets that I've created here. This works not just for changes, you can also do it for outages, business events, and so on. With that, I'm now going to move over to the asset console. Can we go back to the PowerPoint presentation, Harshad? Harshit, can you share your screen, please?
Give me a second, please. Give me a second, please. I'm just going to share my screen right now.
Yes, I can see. Thank you. So the asset console is the third one in this series. That is, we saw the ticket console, the calendar. Asset console is an interface that's commonly used across the organization, not just asset managers and configuration managers, but also your asset technicians or service desk agents who may be spread across locations. You need an interface that you can use to look at all your asset CIs and be able to work on those, to be able to manage your asset CIs throughout their entire useful life cycle. So when we designed the new asset console, we came up with a few goals that we wanted to fulfill. We wanted to, and this is based entirely on where our customers want us to go in terms of the new asset console. Our customers wanted a tailorable an interface that they could tailor to their needs, something that if you want to add a few custom fields as columns or as filters, you should be able to do that. Some customers have custom asset CI classes, so you should be able to get fields from your custom classes as data sources. We wanted to facilitate that. We also know that asset management isn't always done sitting in an office. Asset management often tends to be decentralized. So you may have asset technicians at factories or at warehouses. Wherever you have assets, you will have people working on those assets. And that's why you can't just assume that your asset console is going to be accessed only from a desktop. It can be accessed from tablets or other mobile devices. One of the goals we set was to create an interface that can work across a range of devices. We wanted to also design something that completely transformed the experience of working on assets, whether you're working on out of the box fields or custom fields, whether you do it for users who regularly work on the system or do so sparingly, whether you do it for users who tend to be online most of the time or users who prefer to consume the information offline. For example, financial analysts, many of them may not be familiar with the interface and they may want data to be exported out of the system for them to analyze in spreadsheet tools or other BI tools of their choice. So we had to facilitate all of these. We also wanted to design something that would reduce customers' dependence on the mid-tier. We know that the mid-tier interface works, and this is what we hear from many customers. But in terms of the experience, we wanted to design something that customers would find it much more modern. Service ops is the underpinning strategy at BMC in BMC Service and Operations Management. We saw this as an opportunity to expand service ops to asset management, and we'll look at that in just a moment. So we identified a few use cases that we have delivered in the past year or so. In 22.105, which was the first release in which the asset console became control available, we delivered the basic use cases such as the ability to filter out of the box fields as well as custom fields, the ability to search for text strings within the results set, the ability to work on records that are displayed in the result set, the ability to export, and so on. And then we added a few more value-added features in our most recent SaaS release, which is 23.3.00. Dynamic service modeling. I mentioned how we wanted to expand service ops to asset management, or what's called the SACM ITIL process in ITIL 3. So dynamic service modeling is this is about giving configuration managers the ability to consume service models from ITSM and for allow them to consume service models created dynamically using blueprints. So within the BMC Helix suite, we have got these capabilities that allow you to build service models using service blueprints. Now we allow your asset managers and configuration managers to consume these service models right from within ITSM. And that's the one of the flagship features within 23.3, the ability to do bulk updates. So this is bulk updates of asset attributes as well as people relationships. That's something new in 23.3. You can also share your presets, something that Harshit showed you. We can share presets in asset console as well. I'm now going to share my screen to show you a product demo. So the new asset console, once you enable it as a through the CCS parameters, you can access the asset console right from within Smart IT. And okay,
I think you're
I'll
sharing
share
the
it once.
wrong monitor. Try it again.
Yes. Just give me a moment. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. So the new asset console, once you enable it, you can access it right from Smart ID. From the menu bar, go to Console, Asset Console. You'll see a number of presets. We ship a few presets out of the box, but you can create your own presets. You can add filters of your choice. Asset types are typically the asset CI classes. We show the most common classes at the top, but nothing stops you from filtering on other classes such as database or anything else. You can search from right here. You can also search on dates. So when you search on dates, we provide you a calendar interface to allow you to select a date from a calendar UI, which is much easier than just entering it by text. You can filter not just on asset attributes. Most of these are asset attributes, but we also go across CI relationships for a few classes such as processor and operating system. So if I just want to filter on all Microsoft CIs associated with Microsoft, then I can do that right from here. Or if I want to filter on product name, if I want all Windows CIs, I can do that, and so on. I can also filter on people relationships. So relationships like supported by, managed by, approved by, created by, and so on. I can filter on asset CIs that I own or owned by groups that I'm a part of or the organization that I'm a part of, or I can even select any other, team name or even person name. I can filter on any person or team. So once I apply these filters, I can either save this filter as a preset, or I can, once I've seen the results, I can discard those changes. I can also search for any string, any text string within this list. And when I do that, the result set is further refined based on the search string that I searched here. So I searched for the string based on an IP address and I got this one record. Now let's come to the columns. All these columns, you can configure them. You can change the order of columns just by dragging or dropping. You can sort on ascending or descending order just by clicking on the column header. You can have a multiple sort. You can sort on multiple columns at a time. and reset the sort order. Visible columns you can change by adding or removing fields. If you're not familiar, novice users can scroll through this list and add fields of their choice. Expert users can simply type field names or column names, and those can be added here. You can also, from this menu, you can also open any record in the edit mode or view related people or CIs. If I click on edit record, just give me a second. So when you edit any record, it opens that record in an edit mode, allowing you to edit that record. Now let me show you how we enable service ops from the asset console. From this record, I open view related CIs, and now it shows me, along with the CI relationships, which are shown in a tabular form, you also see 3 links at the top. If I click on CI Explorer, it opens the service model as it exists in the CMDB. But you also see 2 more links here: dynamic service model and DSM node topology. If I click on dynamic service model, it opens this the dynamic service model that has been created in Helix based on service blueprints. So we cross-launch to Discovery to enable you to visualize the service model as it exists in Discovery. Now you can see this table, and this is because the CI that we started from is a part of 2 service models. It shows us 2 service models, VMware 1 and VMware 2. I just need to click on any business service, and when I do that, it will display the service model for that business service. So here I can see the service model in Discovery for this service. Now, sometimes some service models can be highly complex. So you will see all these visualizations, and it can be difficult to find the specific CI that we started with. Now here it's very clear. This is where we started from, this CI. But if the service model is complex, it can be difficult to find where the CI is. So for that purpose, we allow you a second link here, DSM node topology. So node topology also shows you the relationships. It shows the visualization of relationships from the service model, but it puts this CI right at the center. So it explodes the visualization, but it puts this CI right at the center so that you know where this CI is in the whole service model. We started with a CI, we started with a brick, and when you looked at the service model, you saw the building. Now here, you want to know where is this brick in the building. DSM node topology shows you precisely that brick, which is this CI. And once you're here, you can then take whatever, based on your permissions, you can navigate within Discovery to do whatever you need to. I can also export results from the asset console. So we can export all records or just a few of the records. We can also select a few records, and from asset actions, we can update assets. When you click on update assets, we can update asset attributes. So if you want to change bulk update status, for example, you can do that from here, change it to whatever status you want to change to. You can also relate people. So you can, for the selected CIs, you can select a support group that you want to relate these CIs to. So I can select one support group and I select a role. And when I do that, it creates relationships between these CIs and the selected group. With that, I'm at the end of my presentation on calendar and asset console. We're now going to look at the product documentation section. And for that, I'm going to hand over to Vaijayanti.
Thanks, Nikhil. Hi, everyone. My name is Vaijayanti Nerkar, and I am the documentation manager at BMC. I'm responsible for all the service management apps, apps like digital workplace, business workflows, ITSM and ITSM apps, and so on. So today I'm here to talk to you about some changes that we've done in our documentation for the 23 release. The presentation is coming up. So the changes that we've done to the documentation are mainly related to the smart IT space. So what we've done is we have topics. We have been able to cut down to almost 60% of the topics, making our information more accessible, easy to find. We have also okay, hang on. Let the presentation come up, I guess.
I think it's on a delay. Yeah, Arshad, I don't know if you want to try again. Perfect.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thanks. I can see it. Yes. So the new documentation is now more robust. We have added a lot more rich media in there. So by rich media, I mean things like videos, infographics, and so on. We've also changed the way we have written the topic titles. They are now more use case based or goal based. So whenever our customers land on a topic, just looking at the topic title, you'll be able to figure out whether you're in the right place or you need to just navigate to somewhere else. So let me specifically talk about what's changed in smart IT related to smart IT. So initially, smart IT was our documentation space, which had a lot of information around other products as well. So you could find information around asset, change, etc. in the smart IT documentation itself. However, in 23.3, we have now removed all the product specific information and moved it into the specific documentation space. So what I mean by that is anything related to asset is moved into the asset management space. Anything related to service desk is moved into service desk space. Um, and all the common information now resides in the ITSM 23.3 space. By common information, I mean things like common configurations or common consoles, foundation data, and so on and so forth. So this is basically what has changed. This topic that I have put here, where did the smart IT documentation go? That's really your go-to topic. I'll just demo that in a bit and show you, what that topic contains. But if you bookmark this topic, you will be able to get to all the links that we have collated to make it a bit more easy to access. So I guess you are able to see my screen now. So this is the smart IT space. As you can see, it's the 22.1. You will not see a 23.3 space. However, on the home page, you have this banner, which will, it has this link, which will take you to the smart IT documentation. In the sense, it will explain to you where has the information moved. So let me just show you the topic. So this topic is in the ITSM 23.3 space. It's right there in the release notes, just below the enhancements and patches. In here, we have put in some links related to feature and component to make it a bit more quick to access. We've also explained why we have made this change, because we wanted to reduce the hierarchy, make the topics more searchable, and etc. There is also a video that we have created to explain the changes in a bit more detail. And we've also explained how the new structure looks like. So one thing that stands out is that we are aware that not everyone would have moved to the latest consoles. So to be able to cater to customers who are still working out of the classic smart IT or mid-tier, we still have kept those instructions available. And here we have provided some popular links for quick and easy access. So to give you one example, this is the topic in the latest 23 space, which is related to a common item like which is broadcasting messages. So here you will see at the bottom of the topic, we still have kept these instructions for mid-tier in case someone is still using those. One example of the how topics have changed. So in 22.1, we had this setting up asset management topic, which was in Smart IT. And now it has moved to the specific asset management space. So it's going to be a little more easy to access and easy to search. Here is the 23 enhancements topic from the ITSM space. In here, we have the What's New video, which talks about these documentation improvements. And then below in the What's New, we have again given a link to this topic where we have all the details around the changes. One more resource that we have added in 23.3 is the self-help. You might have seen just now when the PMs were giving a demo of the consoles, you would have seen this widget right at the bottom. So this is a self-help widget, and we have some walkthroughs and tours, product tours available. So you can explore those once you get to the application. In case you're not able to bookmark this topic, or in case you don't remember where to look for that topic, the Smart IT, where did the Smart IT documentation go? One very easy way to do that is everybody knows the documentation portal. So you can just navigate to the docs.bmc.com and look for the product, search for the product that you are looking for information for. So let's say that you want something on asset management. So you start typing it, and here you'll get to the asset management space. And once you're in the asset management or change or whichever space you're looking for, once you get in there, then look for this search bar and try and put your search items over here so that you get related searches quickly, and the search results are much more specific to that particular product in which you're looking for information. So yes, so that's what I really had to share today.